It was 1976. America was celebrating its bicentennial. Gasoline was 59 cents a gallon. Steve Jobs had just built the first Apple computer in a garage. And me? I was 27, teaching US history in a small high school just outside Chicago. But something else happened that year, something buried deep in a Japanese research lab. A tiny compound was discovered that would change the lives of millions. Back then, heart attacks weren't something we talked about. They just happened. My neighbor, Mr. Connors, had one while mowing the lawn. My Uncle Joe died in his sleep. No warning. No goodbye. We thought it was just old age. Bad luck. Destiny. We were wrong. That compound they discovered. It was the first statin. It didn't look like much, a small white pill. But it quietly began a war. Not with armies or tanks. But with the biggest killer of all, cholesterol. You see, cholesterol builds silently. Like rust in your pipes. It doesn't knock on your door. It waits until you fall. And in that silence, people were dying. Fathers. Grandmothers. Friends. This is the story of how one forgotten trial, the Lotus study sparked a revolution in cardiovascular health. A story that could change the way you think about aging, memory, energy, and maybe even your life expectancy. If you've ever wondered if the pill you take each night matters, or if there's more to heart health than just blood pressure, stay with me. Because I'm going to take you back to that lab in 1976. I'm going to show you what the media never reported. And I'll help you ask the questions that might just save your life. Grab a seat. Grab a cup of tea. And let's begin. Back when I was in my 30s, cholesterol was just a word I saw in TV commercials. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't ask. I thought it was something for other people to worry about, folks who smoked or ate fast food all day. Not me. I was teaching, walking, and eating what I thought was healthy. I felt fine. But fine is a dangerous word. In 1998, I collapsed during a lunch break. 1 minute I was explaining the Civil War, the next, my knees gave out. The ER told me it was stress and dehydration. I nodded. But something didn't feel right. That's when I met Dr. Emily Rhodes. Calm, sharp, honest. She ran tests. Blood work. A brain scan. And when the results came back, she didn't sugarcoat anything. She said, "Harold, your LDL is high. Very high. And it's been climbing for years. You're a ticking clock." She pulled out a yellowed article from a folder. It was the 1976 The Lotus trial, the first time a statin drug had been tested on humans. The trial was small, held in Japan, and it used a compound found in fermented red rice, compactin. The results? Stunning. LDL cholesterol dropped by 30, even 40% in some cases. No major side effects. Just a quiet, promising beginning. But the world wasn't ready. Some called it unnatural. Others feared it would cause liver damage. Drug companies hesitated. Doctors didn't know how to explain it to patients. And the research faded into the background. Dr. Rhodes leaned forward and said something I'll never forget: if they had taken the trial seriously back then, we could have prevented millions of strokes and heart attacks. Maybe even yours. That hit hard. She showed me data. By 2020, statins had prevented over 8 million cardiovascular events worldwide. 8 million. That's cities' worth of people spared from ICU beds, from funerals, from grief. I asked, why didn't anyone tell me this before? She smiled. Because no one ever asked. And most people think heart disease only happens when you feel pain. But the truth is, it builds silently. Year after year. Molecule by molecule. That night, I went home and read everything I could about cholesterol. LDL, HDL. Triglycerides. I realized I'd been lucky. Very lucky. Today, I take one statin pill each night. It's not magic. It's not a cure-all. But it's part of a routine, a defense line. And it started, quietly, in a Tokyo lab nearly 50 years ago. If you're listening now, and you've never checked your LDL, or you think you're fine because you feel okay, please. Don't wait like I did. Ask. Learn. Act. Before your body sends a warning you can't ignore. I used to ignore numbers. Blood pressure, cholesterol, LDL, they were just things the doctor mentioned at checkups. I'd nod, smile, and walk out. But life has a way of waking you up. Sometimes gently. Sometimes with a hammer. In 2002, I was 53. Just finished dinner. I remember because it was meatloaf night, and my wife made her famous mashed potatoes. I stood up to clear the plates, and then everything spun. A cold sweat. Nausea. No chest pain. No dramatic fall. I told myself it was the flu. But the next morning, Dr. Rhodes looked me dead in the eye and said, "Harold, you had a heart attack. A quiet one. But real. Your heart's been damaged." I was stunned. Me? I wasn't overweight. I walked to work. I didn't eat fast food. But Dr. Rhodes explained, silent heart attacks are more common in older adults. And you've had borderline cholesterol for years. It caught up. That day, my real education began. She showed me my LDL, 167 milligrams per deciliter. My HDL, 39. My triglycerides, 210. These numbers, she said, don't lie. They're the smoke before the fire. If I'd ignored those numbers again, I wouldn't be here telling you this story. So, before you skip your next lab test, pause. Ask, what is my LDL today? Dr. Rhodes laid out the options. Lifestyle first, fiber, movement, sleep. But she also handed me a prescription. This is simvastatin. Start with 10 milligrams. One pill. Each night. No heroics. Just consistency. I was skeptical. I read horror stories online, muscle pain, liver damage. I almost tossed the bottle. But something stopped me. I thought about my students. About my wife. About the grandkids I hadn't met yet. And I took that first pill. Within a month, my LDL dropped to 121. In 3 months, it was 95. By year's end, 72. More importantly, I felt steady. My thinking got clearer. No more dizzy spells. No more waking up gasping. And in every follow-up, Dr. Rhodes did something most doctors don't, she listened. We adjusted dosage, we added Coke 10 for muscle health, and we tracked everything together. She followed the American Heart Association's 2001 guidelines, then updated me again in 2018, for high-risk adults, especially those over 60 with previous heart events, the target LDL is under 70. Today, I print out my labs every quarter. I keep them in a binder. And I show others how to read theirs. Not as a doctor. Just as someone who nearly ran out of time. In the description below, there's a free LDL tracker. Same one I use. Download it. Print it. Highlight your progress. And if your numbers aren't where they should be, don't panic. Ask questions. Talk to your doctor. I was lucky. My wake-up call came with a second chance. But many don't get that. So I tell this story, not because I'm special, but because it might be your story, too. By now, you've heard my story. But what about yours? Maybe you're over 60, like me. Maybe you've had a scare. Or maybe you've just been told your LDL is a little high. Let me tell you something I wish someone told me 30 years ago: just a little high can still cause a lot of harm. LDL doesn't punch you in the face. It whispers. It builds. It hides. That's why doctors now look at risk, not just numbers. Dr. Rhodes taught me this: cholesterol is like rust in your pipes. Even if it's not overflowing today, the damage accumulates. Let's talk facts. According to the 2018 American Heart Association and American College of Cardiology guidelines, if you're over 60, with a history of cardiovascular disease, the target LDL is under 70 mg per deciliter. If you're at risk but have no prior events, aim under 100. Now here's the shocker: a 2022 meta-analysis in The Lancet reviewed over 250,000 patients. For every 1 millimole per liter reduction in LDL, that's about 38 mg per deciliter. There was a 20% reduction in major cardiovascular events. That means even small progress matters. Even shaving 10-15 points can shift your trajectory. If you knew one number could change your risk by 20%, wouldn't you want to know it right now? But statins aren't magic pills. They work best with a lifestyle: fiber, 25 g per day. Omega-3, from fish or supplements. Walking 30 minutes daily. Sleep. Hydration. Stress control. Dr. Rhodes always said, statin is a seatbelt. But you still need to drive safely. Still not sure if statins are right for you? Let's break it down. There are two types: lipophilic, like simvastatin, atorvastatin, and hydrophilic, like pravastatin, rosuvastatin. Some work better for liver-focused patients. Some have fewer muscle side effects. A study in JAMA, 2016, found that true statin intolerance is less than 5%. Most reported symptoms disappeared when patients didn't know they were taking the pill. Translation: sometimes fear makes us feel sick. So here's what I suggest: download the LDL tracker below. Take your last 3 lab tests. Write down the dates: LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. Notice any trends? Rising? Flat? Dropping? Then take it to your doctor. Say, here's my log. Can we talk about what these numbers mean? They'll take you more seriously. And you'll feel more in control. Statins aren't for everyone. But knowledge? That's for all of us. So, what now? You've heard the story. You've seen the science. But what should you do tomorrow morning? I'll tell you what I did. And still do. Step 1, I downloaded a simple LDL tracker. I printed it. Wrote my last 3 results. Then I highlighted the trends in red and green. Green if it's improving. Red if not. Step 2, I brought it to Dr. Rhodes. No appointments wasted. Straight to the point. Doc, here's what I see. What do you think? Step 3, I asked 5 questions, and you should, too. What is my current LDL goal based on my age and history? Are there lifestyle changes I can make before changing medication? Is my statin the best fit for my profile? How often should I retest? Are there other risk markers we should track, like CRP, ApoB? These are questions from the AHA/ACC shared decision-making model, patients and doctors working together. Your doctor's time is limited. But a good question opens big doors. Sometimes even life-saving ones. Step 4, I joined a group. Not a gym. Not a diet cult. Just a small Facebook group for seniors managing heart health. We share our charts. Our small wins. Our setbacks. It's not about being perfect. It's about not being alone. Step 5, I committed to one challenge, 30 days. Every night, I took my statin. Every morning, I logged my sleep, my mood, and my walk. By the end of week 4, I felt like I was steering the wheel again. You can download the same tracker I used. It's free. It's in the video description. And the 30-day heart health challenge. That's there too. You can print it. Stick it on your fridge. Or your mirror. Because every morning you look at it, you'll be reminded, this story isn't just mine. It can be yours, too. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a man who nearly lost everything, and decided not to waste the second chance. If you're still watching this, I want you to know something, it's not too late. Not too late to track your numbers. Not too late to ask your doctor better questions. Not too late to become the kind of patient who doesn't wait for the sirens. We started with a Japanese researcher in 1976. We followed a journey through controversy, discovery, prevention, and personal healing. And along that journey, we uncovered truths that many wish they had known sooner. Because here's the reality, most people don't act until something breaks. Until the chest tightens. The ambulance comes. The test says, too late. But what if we didn't wait? What if you became the kind of person who makes change before the storm hits? Now the question is, what will you do with what you now know? Don't leave that decision for tomorrow. Because tomorrow isn't promised. Here's what you can do. Download the LDL tracker. It's free. Print it. Write your numbers. See your trend. Join our Live Better with Harold group. A community where people like you share questions, victories, fears, and hope. Try the 30-day heart health challenge. No pressure. Just presence. One step each day. Every small step compounds. Every choice matters. Every effort tells your heart, I care. And if you ever feel tired, remember this, I was once afraid, too. Afraid of pills. Of side effects. Of change. But fear didn't save me. Awareness did. Action did. People did. So don't let silence be the end of your story. Let this be the beginning. This isn't just a story of statins. It's a story of reclaiming the driver's seat in your health journey. And if you've made it this far, I want to say, thank you. I'm Harold Bennett. And I believe that your heart is worth fighting for. It always has been. And it always will be. See you in the next story.